You ever meet someone who's so damn broken, they don't even realize they're the most dangerous thing in the room? Yeah, that's what this story's about. And before you ask, yeah, I'm talking about a little girl. A preacher's daughter who hasn't aged a day in 50 years. And trust me, friend, there ain't nothing scarier than innocence that's been twisted into something else entirely. So grab whatever poison you're drinking tonight, sit your ass down close to this fire, and let me tell you about Red Canyon and the girl who wouldn't leave. Happened about 3 weeks after that train incident. I was still feeling pretty good about myself, you know? Saved some souls, pissed off the railroad, doing my whole redemption thing. Thought I was getting the hang of this wandering hero bullshit. Huh. The desert's got a funny way of reminding you that you don't know jack shit. I rolled into Red Canyon at sunset, following rumors I'd heard from a prospector 2 towns back. He was half drunk, smelled like he'd been dead for a week, but his story got my attention. Said there was a town out there that died 50 years ago. Cholera outbreak. Everyone gone in 3 days. Everyone except one. A little girl, he said. Still there. Still waiting for her daddy to come home from wherever the hell he went. Now, I've seen a lot of weird shit in my time, but a ghost child holding on to hope for half a century, that's the kind of thing that makes even a dead man's bones itch. Something about it felt wrong, felt dangerous, felt like exactly the kind of mess I needed to stick my skeletal nose into. Red Canyon wasn't hard to find. You could smell the death on it from 5 miles out. And I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean actual death. The kind that soaks into sand and wood and stone and never quite leaves. The kind that makes smart animals take the long way around. The town was exactly what you'd expect from a plague town. Buildings half collapsed, boardwalks rotted through, sand drifting through empty doorways like the desert was trying to bury the whole damn place and forget it ever existed. Smart desert. But here's the thing that made my empty sockets want to close in dread. The church. Right in the center of town, white paint still fresh, bell tower standing straight and proud, not a single board out of place, like someone had been maintaining it, caring for it, loving it. That's never a good sign. I hitched my skeletal horse to what was left of a post, bones clicking as I dismounted. The sun was setting behind me, painting everything in blood-red light, and for just a second, I thought I saw a curtain move in one of the church windows. Then I heard her singing, high, clear, sweet as honey and twice as sticky. A hymn, one of those old gospel numbers about grace and salvation and Jesus coming to take you home. Pretty voice. Shame about the circumstances. I pushed through the church doors, hinges squealing like tortured cats, and there she was. Little girl, maybe 8 years old, sitting in the front pew, hands folded in her lap like she was waiting for service to start. White dress, perfectly clean despite 50 years of dust. Dark hair in 2 braids tied with red ribbons. She looked up at me with eyes that were too old, too knowing, too goddamn wrong for that young face. "Hello," she said, smile bright and empty. "Are you here for the sermon? Daddy's sermon is the best. He'll be back soon. He always comes back." "Oh, hell. What's your name, sweetheart?" I asked, trying to keep my voice gentle. Hard to do when you're a talking skeleton, but I tried. "Mary. Mary Hutchins. My daddy's the preacher here. He went to get medicine for the sick people, but he'll be back. Any day now. Any minute. He promised." 50 years this girl had been waiting. 50 years in a dead town, singing hymns to empty pews, keeping that church clean, maintaining that impossible hope that Daddy was coming home. Except she wasn't a girl anymore, was she? Couldn't be. Whatever Mary Hutchins had been when she died, she was something else now. Something that wore the shape of a child, like a mask, like a trap, like bait. "Mary," I said carefully, "how long have you been waiting?" She cocked her head, confused. "Just since this morning. Daddy left this morning. He'll be back for evening service. He always does evening service." Every morning for 50 years was this morning to her. Every evening was tonight. She was stuck in a loop, a record with a skip, playing the same day over and over and over. But here's the thing that made my bones want to turn and run. She wasn't just stuck. She was keeping herself stuck. On purpose. Because if she admitted Daddy wasn't coming back, if she let go of that hope, she'd have to face what she really was, what this place really was, and what she'd done to keep that hope alive. I noticed them then. Scratches on the pews, recent scratches, claw marks, fingernail gouges, like something had been dragged, fighting, toward the altar. And under the altar, stains. Old stains, new stains, too many stains. "Mary," I said, voice harder now, "have you had other visitors before me?" Her smile got wider, brighter, wronger. "Oh yes, lots of visitors come to see Daddy preach, but they always leave before he gets back. It's very rude. They never stay for the whole sermon." "Where do they go, Mary?" She pointed down, toward the floor, toward the basement, toward whatever the hell was under this church that I really, really didn't want to see. "They go downstairs, to wait with the others. So when Daddy comes back, everyone will be here. Everyone will hear the sermon. Everyone will be saved." Ah, shit. I walked toward the basement door, each step creaking on the old floorboards. Mary watching me with those two old eyes in that too young face. The door was heavy oak, and when I pulled it open, the smell that came out was enough to make even a dead man gag. Bodies, or what was left of them. Travelers, drifters, people stupid enough or unlucky enough to wander into Red Canyon over the past 50 years. Dozens of them, all arranged in neat rows in the basement, sitting in chairs like a congregation, facing a makeshift altar, their dead faces frozen in expressions of terror and agony. Mary had killed them, or something wearing Mary's face had. Killed them and arranged them like dolls, like an audience for a sermon that would never come, from a preacher who'd been dead for half a century. "They'll be so happy when Daddy gets back," Mary said from behind me, her voice still sweet, still innocent. "They've been waiting so long, just like me. We're all waiting together." I turned to face her, and yeah, there it was, the thing behind the mask. Her eyes had gone black, pure black. No whites, no iris, just darkness deeper than any natural shadow. Her smile was too wide now, stretching her face in ways human faces don't stretch. "You're not Mary Hutchins," I said. "Of course I am," she laughed, and it sounded like breaking glass. "I'm Mary, and Daddy's coming home, and we're all going to be saved, and you're going to wait with the others until he gets here, because it's rude to leave before the sermon, and I won't let anyone else leave ever again." The last part came out in a shriek that rattled the church windows, and suddenly I understood. Mary Hutchins had died, yeah, probably cholera, same as everyone else. But she died afraid, died calling for a father who never came, died with such desperate hope that it became something else, something hungry, something that fed on that same hope in others. She'd been pulling travelers in for 50 years, feeding on their hope that they'd escape, that they'd survive, that someone would save them. And when that hope ran out, when they finally understood nobody was coming, she killed them and added them to her collection. All to keep pretending Daddy was coming home. "Mary," I said, trying a different approach, "your daddy's not coming back. You know that, right? Deep down, you know." Her face contorted with rage. "Liar! He's coming back. He promised. He promised." The whole church shuddered. Pews lifted off the floor, the altar cracked down the middle. Whatever Mary was now, she had power, and she was pissed. "He's dead, Mary. He died trying to get that medicine. Died on the road somewhere between here and the next town. Never made it back. Never could make it back." "No!" she screamed, and the walls started bleeding. Actual blood seeping through the white paint, dripping down like tears. "He's alive. He's coming back. And you're going to wait with the others until he does." She moved then, fast as thought, and grabbed my arm with hands that were ice cold and strong as steel. The basement door slammed open, and I felt myself being pulled toward it, toward those stairs, toward that collection of corpses waiting for a sermon from a dead preacher. But here's the thing about being a skeleton. I don't have much meat to grab onto. I twisted, bones separating from her grip, and I ran. Not proud of it, but sometimes running is the smart play. I crashed through those church doors and into the desert night, Mary's screams following me, the entire church groaning and creaking like it was trying to chase me. My horse was gone. Smart horse. So I ran on foot, bones clattering, Mary's voice echoing through the canyon. "Come back. Wait for Daddy. Wait with the others." I made it maybe 100 yards before I stopped. Stopped and thought about those bodies in the basement. About 50 years of travelers who'd walked into that church hoping for shelter, for help, for salvation and found only a little girl's twisted hope turned into a killing machine. About how many more would die if I just kept running. Damn it. I turned around and walked back toward the church. Mary was standing in the doorway, backlit by moonlight, looking small and lost and utterly terrifying. "I knew you'd come back," she said, smile returning. "Nobody leaves. Nobody ever leaves." "You're right," I said. "I'm not leaving. But I'm not waiting for your daddy either. I'm here to tell you the truth, Mary, the whole truth, and you're going to listen." She hissed, literally hissed like a snake, and the ground beneath my feet started to crack. "I don't want to hear lies." "Not lies, truth. Your daddy loved you, Mary, more than anything, more than his own life. That's why he went for that medicine. That's why he died trying to save this town, trying to save you. He's not dead. He's coming back." "He can't come back, Mary. He's been dead for 50 years, just like you, just like everyone in this godforsaken town. But here's the thing." I moved closer, even as the cracks in the ground widened, even as the church behind her started to collapse. "He's been waiting for you, on the other side. For 50 years he's been waiting, wondering why his little girl won't come home." She froze. The cracks stopped spreading. The church stopped collapsing. "Daddy's waiting for me?" "Yeah, has been this whole time. But you're stuck here, stuck in this loop, stuck waiting for him when he's waiting for you. You've got it backwards, kiddo." Her eyes, those terrible black eyes, started to change, started to show white again, show color, show something human. "But I promised to wait. I promised I'd be good and wait for him to come home." "You kept your promise. For 50 years you kept it. But promises work both ways, Mary. He promised to come back, and he did. Just not here. He came back on the other side, where the dead go when they're ready to rest. And he's still there, waiting for his little girl to stop being scared and come find him." The tears started then. Real tears, not blood, not manipulation. Just a little girl crying for her daddy. "I'm scared," she whispered. "What if he's mad at me for what I did, for all those people?" And there it was, the real reason she'd been stuck. Not hope, guilt. She knew what she'd become, what she'd done, and she was terrified her father would see it, would hate her for it. Ha! Guilt. I knew a thing or two about that. "Mary," I said, sitting down on the cracked ground, "I killed people too. Lots of them. Did terrible things for 100 years because I was cursed, because I was scared, because I didn't know how to break free. And you know what? Someone still helped me. Someone still saw the human in the monster. Your daddy, he's not mad. He's just waiting to hold his little girl again." She looked at me, really looked at me, seeing past the bones to whatever was underneath. "How do I find him?" "You let go. Stop waiting for him to come here. Stop holding on to this place, this church, this pretend life. Just let go. He'll find you. I promise. You promise? Yeah, kiddo, I promise. And unlike some promises, this one I can actually keep. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, and this time it was real. A child's smile, innocent and pure and heartbreaking. Okay, I'll let go. I'll go find Daddy. The church behind her started to fade. Not collapse, not crumble, just fade, like a memory that's finally being released. The blood on the walls disappeared. The cracks in the ground sealed up. The whole town started to dissolve, turning to mist and moonlight. Mary looked down at her hands, watching them turn translucent, turn to light. Will you tell him I'm sorry for taking so long? Tell him yourself. He's right there, waiting. Open your eyes and see. She did. And her face lit up with joy so pure, it hurt to witness. Daddy, she cried, reaching for something I couldn't see, something only she could see. Daddy, I'm sorry I made you wait. I'm coming home now. I'm finally coming home. And then she was gone. Just gone. Disappeared into light and love, and whatever comes after for little girls who wait too long for fathers who love them. The church collapsed then, really collapsed. 50 years of delayed decay catching up all at once. The whole town went with it. Buildings folding in on themselves, sand swallowing everything, erasing Red Canyon from the map like it had never existed at all. I stood there in the ruins, alone with the moonlight and the memory of a little girl finding her father after 5 decades of fear and guilt and desperate hope. The bodies in the basement were gone too. Released, I hoped. Free to find their own way home, wherever home was for them. I found my horse a mile away, waiting patiently, like the good skeletal steed it was. Climbed on, pointed us toward the next town, the next story, the next soul that needed saving, or damning, or just understanding. But I couldn't stop thinking about Mary, about how close I'd come to running, to leaving her there, to adding my name to the list of people who'd abandoned her, about how easy it would have been to decide she was too far gone, too twisted, too dangerous to save. That's the thing about this redemption business, friend. It's not clean. It's not simple. Sometimes the monster is a little girl. Sometimes the victim is the villain. Sometimes the only difference between damnation and salvation is whether someone gives enough of a damn to tell you the truth. I've met a dozen Marys since that night. Souls stuck in loops, trapped by guilt or fear or hope twisted into something ugly. And every time, I remember that little girl in the white dress, waiting for a father who was waiting for her. Both of them too scared to take that final step toward each other. Sometimes all it takes is someone in the middle, someone who's been both monster and victim, someone who knows that the line between them is thinner than you'd think. Someone like a skeleton cowboy who spent 100 years as a monster and is spending whatever's left trying to be something better. Redemption. What a joke. What a beautiful, terrible, necessary joke. So next time you see a church in the middle of nowhere, all clean and perfect in a dead town, maybe think twice before going inside. Maybe ask yourself what's keeping it standing when everything else has fallen. And if you hear a little girl singing hymns, if you see a child waiting for someone who's never coming back, maybe, just maybe, tell her the truth. Tell her it's okay to stop waiting. Tell her it's okay to go home. Might save her life, might save her soul, might save the next poor bastard who wanders through looking for shelter. And if you're lucky, really lucky, you might hear her laugh as she finally goes home to the father who's been waiting all along. That's worth more than all the cursed gold in the world. Trust me on that one. Now where's that bottle? This fire's getting low and my bones are feeling the cold. Next time I'll tell you about the bone collector, about the man who builds traps for souls, and the time he tried to trap mine. That's a fun one. Well, fun if your idea of fun is nearly getting your consciousness trapped in a sculpture made of stolen bones for eternity. Which, honestly, compared to some of the shit I've been through, isn't even in the top 10 worst ways to spend eternity. But that's a story for another night. Sweet dreams, friend. And if you hear a little girl singing in the dark, don't be afraid. She's just going home.